Tottenham are now heading into a pivotal part of the season. Their squad is very thin on the ground after having a massive number of injuries impact the starting lineup and the whole squad in general. So today on the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, I'm going to be running through the most important players in this Spurs team towards the end of the season. And before we go any further, if you are new to the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel, then get down below, leave your like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also let me know in the comments down below, who do you think is the most important player at Spurs? So yeah, after the Borussia Dortmund game, where I think we finally saw what this Spurs team can do, I thought, why not be a bit more positive today? Why not put some praise on the players who I think can be the difference for this Spurs squad, whether it's Thomas Frank as the manager or if someone comes in, depending on what happens after the Burnley game. So without further ado, let's go through some of these players. And I'm going to start in an obvious area, who, you know, with a player who I thought was the best player the other night against Dortmund, and that is Xavi Simons. Now, don't get me wrong, Xavi Simons hasn't, lit the Tottenham Hotspur team alight, I would say. Hasn't been too consistent. He's only got 2 goals and a handful of assists as well so far in this campaign, in all competitions. But I think what we saw the other night is a player that Xavi Simons can be. And that is a player who is a creative genius, who is always got his head up and willing to pick out players. And with a few more players added to this squad, whether in the January transfer window or some players coming back from injury, I think it makes his job even easier. I still feel sorry for Xavi Simons, because when you look at how he came into this squad, it was, with immense pressure. He came in after failed moves for Morgan Gibbs-White and failed moves for Archie Gray as well. And then on top of that, with injuries to Dejan Kulusevski and James Maddison, he is literally our most creative player. We've had other players playing the 10 and they just can't do the creativity that we need from this Spurs team. And as I say, against Dortmund, which is an opponent that he is used to playing after being at RB Leipzig, I think we saw how this player, how Xavi Simons can really be that spark to get most of Spurs' attacks rolling. I just was really impressed with what I saw. His dribbling's become a lot better over the last couple of weeks. His passing, his flair, and I just think if he can continue this form, get a few more goals, get a few more assists, I think he's going to be a great Spurs player for years to come. And don't get me wrong, I think this is my most controversial take. I actually think he's been better than Archie Gray. Now, I know Archie Gray dunked on Spurs in the North London derby, but he hasn't really been a feature. So I think, after all what's happened, I'm really been impressed with Xavi Simons. Next up was the return of Destiny Udogie, who started at left back against Borussia Dortmund. Obviously a bit of a weird team, because we had Jed Spence as the left winger. Jed Spence obviously known for playing left back, right back, and obviously with Sansu as well as left back. So I think what we saw from Destiny Udogie is a player, he has been absolutely riddled with injuries this season. Again, it's just such a shame, because I think on his day, he's one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League. I really think he is monumental to what Spurs do in an attacking sense, and also I think his defensive capabilities are good as well. He's strong on the ball, he can help the midfields link up the play, and I mentioned Xavi Simons already, but really help link it up with those creative players to make stuff work. I think he is just an absolutely sublime player for Spurs when he is fit and when he is firing. And we saw a bit of a better Pedro Porro the other night. I know he somehow got man of the match. I'm really not sure how. But I think what this does is having Udogie there, having Sousa there, means that Jed Spence probably can play right back and relieve Porro of some minutes. Because I think, because Porro's maxed out his minutes the last couple of years, that's why we're seeing him dip in form. So I really think Destiny Udogie can be a key player for Spurs as we look towards the end of the season. Another player who I think is going to be monumental was also just returned from injury. Dominic Solanke scored the other night against Dortmund. Did he mean the goal? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, I thought it was quite good, to be fair, the free touch back heel. But it showed after we've seen the likes of Richarlison, after we've seen the likes of Randall Colomwani, even Tell playing as the striker. I prefer Tell as a winger, but, through the middle, I don't think he's as strong. But Dominic Solanke is, the perfect striker for Spurs. He links up the play, he's strong, he's good aerially, and he causes chaos. When he's crashing into the box, finding space, that is the player you want to pick out. And another player I'm going to mention, later on in the video, he was able to pick him out in this game. I just feel like, again, it's always comes back to Spurs. Injuries. It's going to be our forever downfall, isn't it, really? Because, we've seen how threadbare the squad is now, and we've got to hope that Dominic Solanke, we're managing his minutes. I think how he's been eased in against, Dortmund was a good test to him, coming into the Villa game and also the West Ham game as well, some late minutes as well. That will help, because at the moment, you're then relying on Dane Scarlett, who I think, is all right, but can you rely on him for the whole season? I'm not so sure. But yeah, Dominic Solanke, I'm glad he got, his first Champions League goal, his first goal of the season. I really hope that he could be the difference, because we need goals. That's what we need. We need goals, and he has been proven to score goals. He did it last year, and I think that went under the radar, and he did it the year before at Bournemouth, scoring 19 in the Premier League. So we really, really need him. Now, I'd say an underrated player in the last couple of weeks has been Archie Gray. And Archie Gray, when we look at now the midfield situation at Spurs, it's an issue. It's a real big issue, because when you think about it, they're all injured again. So it does prove that Spurs need to make sure they've got an ever-present in this area. We've seen the injuries to Bergvall now. We've also got injuries to João Palhinha at the moment. Rodrigo Bentancur, Conor Gallagher's come in. Got a perfect injury record. But, Spurs are here, so let's see what happens with that. But I think Archie Gray, what he's going to offer is he's going to have to be that holding six for a little while. Bissouma's there. He'll probably stay now until the summer, so that relieves some pressure. But I think Archie Gray has shown a bit more malice in that midfield. We saw him scrapping in the Borussia Dortmund game. He's also got a really good eye for a pass. He can dictate the tempo. He doesn't mind dropping deep. We even saw him last year playing full-back, centre-back. So he is willing to get on the ball and make stuff happen. I just think maybe someone like Gallagher being next to him, who's able to break up the play and help him out, will be quite useful for his development. I'm just glad he's getting minutes in his perfect position. So I'm really, really happy about that. And my final player, and I think this player is going to come into his own at the moment at Spurs, and that's Wilson Odobert. Now, I don't want to say criticised, because it sounds harsh, but, critiqued Wilson Odobert for being quite raw. I feel like, a lot of players in this Spurs squad are young and raw, and they haven't really had that experience. But now he's had a run of, starts in the team because of injuries to Kudos, because of Tell's omission as well, and, Brennan Johnson's now left. Son's left in the summer as well on top of that. Wilson Odobert is showing he can be a really vital player for Spurs. He had a really good finish in the FA Cup against Aston Villa. He got 2 really good assists the other night. He's really getting well with his crossing and his creativity. I think, again, another pivotal player for Spurs. And, we can see what he is capable of. We've seen how he's been able to do it in the France under-21s. He is a class player. He has got the world at his feet, and he could be a really pivotal attacker for Tottenham Hotspur. I feel like we're now seeing some of these players who have got the potential, because, last couple of weeks I've been questioning, the problems at Spurs. Is it the board? Is it, the manager? Is it the players? I think we have still got a bunch of players here who are extremely talented, and under the right coach, I think they could go on leaps and bounds. I really am optimistic about this one. But you're going to have to let me know in the comments down below, who do you think is the most important player in this Spurs squad in the running? Obviously, I could have mentioned Mickey van der Ven, I could have mentioned Romero, but I think they were obvious ones. And, don't know about their injury records. I think Romero is obviously really, really important, but I wanted to highlight some other players that might not have been mentioned. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as I said at the beginning of the video, if you have enjoyed, leave your likes, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And until next time, guys, which will be a match reaction to the Burnley game, I'll see you guys then. Up the Spurs. Bye.